we are going to talk about aligning that brain of yours and your soul so that in a short period of time, whenever you start, you don't have to start right now, like it doesn't have to be January 1st. For 2025, we are going to celebrate. We're going to celebrate everything that you intend to do, everything that you want to experience, everything that comes to mind as a dream. It doesn't have to be on the to-do list. It doesn't have to be something that comes to physical fruition. Well, hi there. Welcome. Thank you for stopping in. I'm Vicky, Intuition, your success compass. Happy January 2025. I don't know about the rest of you, but it feels kind of surreal for me to say that. I've never been someone who puts a lot of energy into, oh, this is another year gone or anything like that. I believe every moment is worth celebrating, even the crappy ones, eventually, maybe not in the moment. So I've never been one that's been like, oh, December 31st, January 1st, that big celebration. But there is something incredibly exciting about the collective energy when people get excited about a new year. I can get into that. But I really do know that each moment we have the opportunity to make a decision, to have self-command, to have that self-surety and belief in self that makes any moment, anything that you're going through worth celebrating. And not to diminish the experience, but to actually enhance it. Because even the crappiest of situations, there can be a glimmer of joy and hope and pride in yourself in that. So for 2025, we are going to celebrate. We're going to celebrate everything that you intend to do, everything that you want to experience, everything that comes to mind as a dream. It doesn't have to be on the to-do list. It doesn't have to be something that comes to physical fruition. I actually believe that the more content we are, the less physical we're actually interested in, except to have a life that is fulfilling and connective and expansive. So for 2025, we are going to talk about aligning that brain of yours and your soul so that in a short period of time, whenever you start, you don't have to start right now. Like I said, it doesn't have to be January 1st. You have a toolbox from which to pull from, and you have concurrent experiences where you start to see more and more of the beauty that you are and the brilliance that you are. And if you can't feel that in yourself right now, I'll hold it for you. I'm very good at that. So what we're talking about is combining the neural pathway work of positive intelligence and the soul work, I believe, that is intertwined in the work with the intuition that I have developed over the 20 something years that I've been doing this. Every time we go into a new year, I think, oh, got to add a number, Vicky. But the intuition that you already have it. Just by being a soul, you have it. Now, maybe there's a little bit too much chatter going on in your head, and that makes it difficult to access the intuition, access the magic that is this universe, and to access the synchronicities and the commonalities that we have, because the brain is a beautiful, beautiful computer, and it will spit out whatever the programming is that has been put in it. And you know what? To be completely straightforward with you, you are responsible for the programming you have. Yes, you've gone through experiences. We've gone through experiences. We've been contributed to. The data has been put in, just like I've contributed to my kids and my grandkids, or actually any clients that I've worked with too. I'm proud of that one. Some of the kids' stuff, listen, I've already apologized. So I'm willing to take responsibility if anything shows up in there, delving into who they are. Happy to show up in my accountability in that. But you are responsible for your programming as of this moment. You're not responsible for what went in. But if you don't start to look at the information that you're spitting out on a daily basis and the beliefs that you have, that's on you. And being the blunt New Englander that I am, you have no one to blame for continued sadness or frustration or even anger if you're not looking at it and if you're not willing to say, geez, that stunk, but I'm not going to carry that forward anymore because I owe it to my soul and I want to feel lit up in this experience. There is a tendency in spiritual work to think we have to go back and figure out where it got planted, where it got started. And while I do believe in some circumstances that's helpful, I actually am coming to believe more and more that it's not, that we're just digging up energy and that we are creating more of the same moving forward. Empathy, oh, boatloads of it. But along those lines, there's also a spiritual belief that if you are very empathic, that you can't be in the midst of difficult situations or crowds or anything like that. And that's not true either, because we all have the capability of managing our energy field, and maybe we just need to learn about it. So this year, I'm going to get a little bit more straightforward, a little bit more blunt with you. And hopefully you will see how exciting it is to take responsibility for the thought process that's going on in your mind and to no longer be kidnapped by it or brain napped by it and no longer be beholden to what you may have thought was anxiety, but it was actually a difficulty in letting go of an old story and writing a new one. And one of my favorite clients, and of course we all have favorites, mine are everybody, but we have been working for a bit on her tendency to judge others and blame others. And she is the sweetest person. But when she has had enough, that's where she goes. They're all wrong. Well, I believe, and I hold this so that I didn't become a pompous you know what, that people are always at least 20% correct. They may believe they're 100% correct and they might be. I might be totally wrong, but I have told myself for years, Vicky, they're at least 20% correct. And why? Because that turns down the part of me that wants to judge. It's in all of us, every one of us. The 3-to-1 ratio. You point a finger at someone else, you have 3 coming back at you, right? So to quiet our brains, we have to know what's going on in there and what like crappy programming we're working from. I don't do the blame game. I definitely don't do shame. So this is not about slamming parents or teachers or society or anything like that. It is about becoming so conscious about the thoughts that are running through your head that you're no longer brain napped. I'm going to coin that as a phrase, I think. So what we're talking about is our subconscious is a bit subconscious is subconscious. How many more times are you going to say that, Vic? Our subconscious ability to hold on to judgment and saboteur behavior and to create a system of survival. So what is a saboteur? As defined in quite a bit of literature, but also specifically the positive intelligence created by Shirzad Chamine and Bill Carmody and a bunch of other people. The saboteurs are a negative mental patterns that are actually rooted in your survival instincts. So there's a reason for them. We just don't want them always so present that you feel like you're always in survival mode. So what these might look like is self-doubt. Perfectionism is actually a saboteur. Avoidance. Hi, that used to be one of my main ones. Control, wanting to make sure that everything is just right so that You think it doesn't trigger success, but it will. You think it doesn't trigger stress, but it does. It will create a self-sabotaging loop that you just stay in. And when we self-sabotage, believe it or not, most of us humans are out here passing it around. And you can just tell, like, when somebody is in that self-defeatist mode and they share that, someone else, and we don't always mean to do this, but it's called a saboteur contagion. And that's where your brain looks at it and says, oh, that, yeah, I'll match that. So my idea for 2025 is I want to have a success contagion. I want us to be shining so freaking bright that it sparks and it sets off a contagion of success for someone else, whatever the definition of success is. Intuition, your success compass, is called that because my compass is different than yours. What I want for success is very different than what you may want. I have people that say to me, I never want to be on screen or on stage. And I'm like, I do. So I created my own, right? Thank you, YouTube, for that world. Anyway, the saboteurs will just collect friends, just have so many people like attracts like, right? They will hijack your thoughts. They will reduce the clarity and your creativity and your effectiveness. Typically, every holiday season, I get going on some needle felting, making some gifts and things like that. And I genuinely love it. I could not get my butt moving this year. I just could not get into it, even though I organized it. Mike built this gorgeous cabinet for me to have all my felting supplies so I can see them all. I could not get my butt going until a couple days ago. Now, when I'm recording this, it's mid-December, but a couple days ago, I was like, oh my goodness, you saboteur, you are definitely in charge. So I did what we call PQ reps, which is a mindfulness practice. And I'm going to take you through one of those in this episode. And I shifted my brain. Now, it's not going to be about productivity because that's not what creating gifts are for me. I don't want to just spit something out. I want to be mindful when I'm making this project that I'm stabbing and I'm thinking of people. There's a lot of love in it. It doesn't sound like it, but there is. So my saboteurs had hijacked it. I'm never going to get this all done. I have no creativity this year. I don't even know what I want to do. I knew what I wanted to do, but that was my brain coming in. So my right brain, my creative side, could not even show up. It just could not show up because the sabotaging side was so loud that it couldn't make any room. So what did I do? Like, I ended up scrolling on my phone. I ended up, well, there's a really great new Ted Danson, I don't even know what it's called, episode or show on Netflix. I highly recommend you check it out, especially if you're 55 and above, because you will, I think, find it humorous. So these saboteurs that come in and hijack us are meant to be there for survival, but they're not helping. And this year, I'm going to go more and more into what each of these are and how you can identify them. Go ahead and hit the link that's in the show notes. Go take the assessment for the saboteurs because you will think that somebody followed you around and kind of highlighted your childhood or your doubts in yourself. Why? Because it's based on science. It's also based on data. Over 1 million people have taken this program, and that's what my 7-week programs are as well, except that I add intuition development into the positive intelligence protocol because I know that when we blend our intuitive mind with our beautifully thinking mind, that we are then more aligned. And speaking of that, just going to toss this out now. I was going to say it at the end, but I'll say it now. I'm doing a Align Your Mind event on January 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Eventually, we'll have more in the other time zones, but for right now, this is what works in my schedule. And that's where it's a workshop. It's of no cost, and it's to help you connect with the idea more so that you can have a say in how your brain works. And you can have what's called self-command, self-surety, that belief in who you are. Just had a conversation with another one of my favorite clients. And she's like, can you believe what we've done this year together? And I'm so touched by that because I know I'm here and I know I'm bringing my intelligence and my spark. And I also know that as the client, they do 99% of the work. So I'm always grateful when it's acknowledged in what she's done this year, because in this year, she's brilliantly moved herself into 1% in her industry, the top 1%. And we've done it by how she's done it. But what's helped is increasing the quiet in the brain and decreasing the imposter syndrome or the self-doubt, the mindset, right? Leaning on her wisdom. So her intuition is helping her make these very high level decisions that she has to make in her industry with a calm center and with a belief that not only does her company deserve this frequency, she deserves it. And that's what's important. And that's what's going to lead our universe into a more loving place. So I'm grateful for that. And we've done it through this program that I teach in a 7-week. My clients, my contracted clients, also get this program in addition to individual coaching. So what we're doing is we're raising that wisdom level. We're helping each other identify what is the languaging that's not supportive, what saboteur is in charge. Is it the stickler? Is it the controller? Is it the restless? Is it the avoider? Is it the hyper-rational? Is it hyper-vigilant? Which one's talking? Because when you get into the practice of just identifying it and then being like, caught you restless. Oh, I caught my restless this morning. I was like, oh, nice try. But there's a list that I have that must be accomplished today because I have already celebrated what I will feel like having accomplished this. And you're part of it. So one of it was getting this episode recorded. So thank you for being part of that. So your sage resides in the brain's prefrontal cortex. It's associated with empathy, innovation, my favorite word, problem solving. It allows you to operate from this place of wisdom and curiosity. The soul is so curious. Your soul is so curious. It's about time we got our human self on board. And it lives in the world of possibility, which is my favorite place because I truly believe that most things are possible. I don't want to fly. It's okay, except in an airplane. I love that. But the possibility of things, just dreaming, is an amazing activity for your brain. And it can, when enhanced and when the neural pathways are strengthened to fire more automatically than the saboteur side, it guides you towards a fulfilling life, whatever that means for you, my friend. I am not going to tell you what a fulfilling life is for you. You are going to tell yourself that. We can figure it out together, but you'll know because you'll feel it inside of you and you'll have that feeling of connection and alignment. And it's just so important. It shifts the focus from being fear-based, which I don't know about you, but have you had enough of that? That's going to be really loud. I hope we can edit that out. I don't know about you, but I've had enough of the fear stuff. It does not help us. It does not serve us to be in that fear place. I mean, very rarely is someone being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. We don't need that at the level anymore, except when it's necessary. But to live there completely is not healthy either. It just creates high cholesterol, stress environment. So your right brain, when you're practicing at the wisdom or the sage, the intuitive side, it becomes more growth and solution oriented, not problem oriented, but solution oriented thinking. So When you're in a sabotaging behavior or mindset, you'll be so attached to outcomes, but you'll be attached to outcomes in a fear way. Okay? Like, what if? What if that happens? When you access your wisdom mind or your sage, you're more about the process. And it's not about being in denial that something could happen. That's not what it's about. It's about being in the trust of who you are and that self surety, and then having solution oriented thinking. And solutions may change. You may think that the solution that you're lined up with in that moment is the most perfect thing in the world. There was a time where I thought I would be a medium for the rest of my life. Now, in the strictest form of the words, I will be, because a medium is someone who communicates with spirit. So, hi. But to actually communicate with those who have croaked as a full-time gig, no, no, that's not my joy any longer. Love you guys in non-physical, but that's not what I want to do. So the solution for me has shifted and changed. And as I grow and I become more interested in the topic of our brain and how we can access soul wisdom, all those lifetimes, and connect it with our mindset, how you're really going about living, right? That solution for me changes and will continue to evolve. So when you're in more of a right brain focused action place, you don't get caught up in the story anymore. It's not a what if, it's a what if. Well, what if I got back into doing more group? I freaking love group work. And what if I did that? What if that lights me up? What if? What if I continue to spread the excitement about using your soul and your brain, and that we don't have to lament about being human? It's a most amazing process. What if? So once you become aware of the judge and the saboteurs and this negative mental patterns can be shifted, and you start accessing more of the wisdom, you begin to have more of a self-command, so that no matter what chaos is going on around you, you have the ability to consciously shift from, oh my goodness, to sage mode, to accessing those muscles of mental fitness. I had an example of this yesterday. I was leading out one of the horses at the sanctuary, and she caught her hoof on the entrance to the arena, and she not tumbled, she stumbled. So that's the word, a little bit. And when she did, she caught my ankle and she stepped on it and then kicked my calf. But she didn't mean to do this. I can fully say that even a year ago, and I don't think it has much to do with understanding the horse leading the horse in. I get that. But in that moment, you better have self command. And afterwards, even though I was saying some words, I was like, whoa, my brain immediately, I didn't lose my footing, thankfully, but immediately went to, okay, get her halter off her, let her go play. She was fine. And then have a moment to breathe and say those words, because nothing like 1,000 pounds hitting you in the ankle bone. I'm like, my calves are pretty feet. Couldn't just hit the calf. She's fine. I'm fine. In that moment, I didn't have to worry or get concerned. I had to be in survival mode. So that's an example of where we want our brain to still activate that quickly. But I didn't panic either. And she was such a good girl. She just stood there and looked at me like, you all right? I'm all right. You all right? And I'm like, we're both all right. It's fine. Just take an Advil. It'll be fine. So when you do the mental fitness exercises that I'm going to talk about as we go through this year, or you can sign up for my program, Mindset Breakthrough, there's continuously another 7-week one starting every few weeks. We got to give myself a little bit of break in between. But when you sign up for those, you'll get this right away. But over the course of the year, we're going to talk about this. I'm going to bring more information and invite people in who have gone through the program and who are using it, this is meant to be lifetime changes, which is what I've always talked about, because we're not here for just this lifetime. We're here for multiple. And I want to learn and help my brain as much as possible in this lifetime. I'll get a new brain in the next lifetime, but I know the wisdom is going to carry forth. So self command is where in those moments of holy moly, like you're able to be present and show up and make the best focused minded decisions as possible. And then honestly, you just move on to the next thing after you finish swearing because your ankle hurts. But you train your brain to weaken the neural pathways on the left side, the saboteurs, and to strengthen those on the right side. So that leads to the self command or the self surety. You can call it confidence, but I really believe confidence is something that we put on for someone else. It's a bit of a con. Whereas self surety is feeling and knowing that you might not know what to do, but you can depend on yourself to navigate whatever it is you need to do. So as you strengthen it, we do these things called PQ reps, which is mindfulness. Listen, there's a million different names for it, but let's do one of them right now because science has backed this up. And I'm going to give you some numbers because data's fun too. And your left brain is so amazing in processing data and coming up with plans. And one of the puppies is having a dream in the background. His subconscious is probably working through. We've only had him a month, so he's still adjusting from being a street dog in Aruba. So let's do one of those PQ reps. Let's do an open eye one in case some of you are driving, listening to this, or walking. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a couple deep breaths to just come into your body. Can I have another one? Deep breath. Buddha belly, even breath. Oh, I love that feeling. It's like, whoosh. It's like when the elevator comes to a halt. And then I'm going to ask you to look around you in your surroundings and find a color. I prefer you not do this when you're driving, but find a color that you can focus on in your room. Any color. Got it? Good. If you have a vision impairment, I would love for you to bring to mind anything in your internal vision, because still works incredibly strong, right? Bring to mind an image or a feeling that you would like to focus on. Okay. So as you find this item, color, image, feeling, because we all process a little bit differently, I would love for you to hone in on one very small part. Is there a texture to something you're seeing? Is there a sensation to whatever you're feeling? Is peacefulness. And there's no one thing that you can put any energy on or identify. That's fine. Remember to breathe. There you go. In just that short period of time, you moved. So come on back if you're zoned out. You moved your neural pathways and you said to the thinking or the overthinking side of your brain, calm down. We're going to go do this exercise. I'm going to light up the intuitive part. I'm going to light up the creative. I'm going to light up the empathy. That's all it takes. You can do this in a meeting. Focus on the person's eyes or the blazer they have on. Do we still say blazers? Focus on the timbre of somebody's voice. You know how sometimes people have those amazing voices and you're like, say something else. Really focus on that because it allows the part of your brain that's been so cramped up to just relax. I don't know about you, but every time somebody told me to just clear your mind, empty it out, have no thought. I immediately had a bunch of thoughts about that. I had opinions about that. And I'm like, I just don't intuitively feel, or I do intuitively feel that that's not the case. Like our brain is meant to pay attention to things. And yes, there can be moments where there's no active thought going on. But the minute you tell me to not have an active thought, I have an active thought. And my brain's like, maybe it's just a good listener. It's like, okay, let's go. And I'm like, oh, I was attempting. I am saying decade. I tried this. And then I finally came to the decision that nope, I know my brain. I know myself. I don't have to do that anymore. So by taking 10, 15 seconds to focus on something in the room, if you are someone who loves to close their eyes, I am someone who loves to close my eyes and go to sleep. My third eye gets very tired by the end of the day. I love to go to sleep. Go ahead and do that exercise and feel your fingers or ground into your toes, the texture of the pants you have on, anything. Think about your senses that you have, not your first sense, but the other five that came after by being human. Focus on one of those and use that to shift. Why? Because the science shows that through neuroscience, psychology, and behavioral research, there are white papers on this. You can go to positiveintelligence.com, but you can also look up the white papers on mental fitness and connected to mindfulness and mindset. And I think it's stress reduction as well. So building your mental fitness, each time you do one of those exercises, kind of like doing a barbell rep or holding a plank. I won't do sit-ups, hurts my back. But doing one of those things, you build your mental fitness, and that reduces stress and anxiety by up to 38%. And once you keep doing that, it just builds on that percentage. Right now, the studies indicate 38%. Okay? 38%, that's lovely compared to anxious ball of nerves, right? But you have to be willing to do it. Remember in the beginning where I said I'm going to be a little bit more direct this year? You have to do it. You have to do these exercises. Sure, your brain got programmed the way it did, but it doesn't have to stay that way. And individuals who have practiced positive intelligence, this is a study done Stanford University, 31% improved their ability to handle challenges. Does your life ever have challenges? Do you ever have things that you have to deal with on a daily basis? Does your brain go to reactivity and the worst case scenario? Or does it stay pretty straightforward? And even if you might feel a little nervous, it's like, I'll figure this out. It will be okay. So participants also experience a 37% increase in happiness and a 35% boost in performance and productivity. And I purposely put that one last, productivity, because we can be so measured in our success around productivity that we forget to be in joy and we forget that it creates anxiety. So when you learn to quiet the mind and you learn to acknowledge those saboteurs, well, hello, Judge. Nice to meet you today. One of my, I scored pretty high in the restless, and we're going to put the link to the assessment in the show notes. I scored pretty high on restless. And I know that a lot of that has to do with my wiring, my intuitive wiring. But I also know that I'm very capable of being solid in the moment, very clear on what needs to be done. When restless shows up, I've named it Reba because I will never yell at Reba McEntire. I just couldn't do it. I adore her. I bet she has a little bit of restless in her. Not that we diagnose, can't diagnose anyway. Life coach. No, no ability to do that there. But all of us have all the saboteurs in there. So I named mine Reba because when it shows up, I'm like, all right, do we need to dance it out? I know she loves donkeys too. So that was helpful. But it helps me to have my saboteurs and my judge be outside of me. So I'm not then turning it on myself and talking to myself in a way that's not supportive. So perhaps you could try that. These saboteurs, when they come up, when you go take the assessment, when it comes up, think of them as your Saturn and those are the moons, and they're just going to circle around you. They're just calling for some attention. Because I don't think they want full-time jobs either. And here's the really fun part. All of our saboteurs for the left brain have a superpower in the right brain. So my restless, when I'm aligned and when I am taking care of myself, drinking my water, getting my rest, my restless turns into rather straightforward ninja action. I can get a lot done, and I have a stamina that exhausts other people. I'm aware of that. I give them breaks. But so the restless can be high energy, creative, connective. So when that's very balanced, I have a week like I'm having this week where everything is just ticking off and everything's going amazingly. When it's not, I'll go put laundry in and then I'll come back upstairs. Oh, I got to go get a drink and then I'll come back upstairs and things just don't get done. And I'm also someone who likes to have things done. I like checking things off my list. That's why there's a digital list and a handwritten list. So get to know yourself. I'm hoping over this year, you can use some of this content and get to know yourself and learn to love yourself a little bit more and appreciate the fact that you are human and you are here on this rock that we're on, and that is a freaking exciting and very cool experience. And you can listen to your judge. No, don't listen to your judge. Vicky, what are you talking about? You can listen to your soul self more so that there's a contentedness that happens and a calmness that happens so that the joy of life goes through the roof. So that's what we're going to do this year. We are going to reset your brain, your intuition. We're going to align them up together so that you are accessing all of your brilliance on every level. And we're going to do Align Your Mind on January 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can go right to the website, sign up for that. Like I said, it's complimentary. And we're going to talk about in more defined ways in an hour how you can do this. Okay. And no sales pitch. I am not that gal. Okay. You guys already know I have programs. You know you can sign up for coaching. This is not one of those webinars that at the last 10 minutes, I'm going to say, and now you can go sign up. I'm going to tell you right now, you can go sign up for the 7-week program. It's going to be there. But there's also going to be this Align Your Mind for 2025 because there's going to be a bit of a plan, if you will, that you will get from signing up for that. And I hope to see you there because you want to align with yourself. I appreciate you being here. Next episode, we're going to talk about the practical application of these things and also get into a little bit of the saboteurs. So I hope you'll join me. I hope you have a most amazing week, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to this episode of Intuition, Your Success Compass. I appreciate you being here. If you would like more information about developing your intuitive skills, removing those blocks, and creating the life that feels the most successful to you, then head on over to vickybaird.com. That's VICKIBAIRD.com. And check out the courses, the groups, and the Spaces app that will allow you to be part of our community and know about upcoming events and specials. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next episode.